Cocoon Spawn Girls, Chapter 3. When I finally woke up again, I was surprised to see Dr. Mack standing over me, practically watching me sleep. Unsure of what to do, I waved.
"Oh, good morning, Sophia. Ready to start the next big day?"
I nodded. What else could I really do after all?
"I forgot to make you take one of these yesterday. Swallow this pill, sweetie."
She placed a pill in my hand. I swallowed it as I was told. I had something on my mind I wanted to ask. I reached for my notebook and began writing on it. Can I learn sign language? I felt this was a pretty clever idea. Surely it would make communication easier.
"It was considered, but management did not feel like it would be that useful to you when you're the only one who knew it. We can't expect your future teammates to all have learned it just for you, now can we?"
She actually chuckled at that. I felt like that would be sort of the necessity of working closely with someone who can't talk. But whatever. Honestly, it felt like I was losing my voice in a way. At least for now I had my notebook. I climbed out of bed, holding my notebook at my side and looking up at Dr. Mack. She was taller than me, obviously, but I have a feeling I've lost some height in this new body.
Okay, Sophia, put your notebook down and then raise your hands up. Let's get you out of that night dress."
I do as I'm told and place the notebook by my feet and raise my hands into the air. Dr. Mack slips off my nightgown off of me, the first time I've seen myself without it since I first woke up. I notice I have bandages wrapped around my chest. Dr. Mack retrieves something from her bag and returns with it.
"Okay, we've got to get the bandages off you. Your body should be all settled now."
She began unwrapping my chest, pulling the wrapping off and balling it up in her hands. She then holds out a bra towards me.
"Put this on. Let me know if it's too tight. We can always adjust it if need be."
I fidget with it, the clasps not seeming to want to snap in right, to my annoyance. Dr. Mack comes up behind me and helps me.
"They can be a little tricky at first, but you'll get used to it. Don't worry."
She spun around.
"Now let's see what we can find in the closet."
She led me, marching over to the closet where she threw the doors open and began looking through the clothes inside for what she could put on me. While she's digging around, I stare at myself in the mirror hanging off the door. So this is really me now. I place my hand on my cheek, looking myself over. My long black hair is so foreign to me. I've got a bit of bedhead right now, but I'm sure there has to be a brush somewhere around here. I don't think I've de-aged at all. I still seem to be around 16 years old, I think. I might not be the best judge of girls, though, but surely I'm still around the right age. I lean forward, admiring my newly acquired freckles. I didn't have these before. I actually find them quite cute. It's a weird feeling staring at yourself and finding yourself pretty. In the past, I don't think I ever really thought much of my appearance. Perhaps since I look like someone else now, I can't help but viewing myself as someone else. I do think I look a bit too skinny. I might be malnourished, actually. When was the last time I actually ate something? Surely I had fluid IV stuff in the hospital, but I didn't eat yesterday for sure. That's sort of weird, isn't it? Well, Dr. Mack is a doctor. Surely she would be on top of that if that was an issue. Speaking of Dr. Mack, she'd found something she liked and was now wiggling her fingers excitedly towards me as she approached, ready to snatch me up.
"Look at this jumper skirt, Sophia. Wouldn't it look so cute on you? We can layer it with this blouse. Oh, you're gonna look so cute."
There's no place to run. I'm cornered against the door corner as Dr. Mack practically leaps onto me, pulling the outfit over me and beginning to doll me up. Before I knew it, I was wearing it all, and Dr. Mack was onto messing with my hair as she chatted with me, although one-sidedly.
"We can't have you look too good today for your debut. I mean, you're gonna look adorable. But your best we save for the future, since we don't want everyone thinking they've already seen your best."
I wanted to ask about what she meant by debut, and to whom, but I didn't have my notebook. She continued brushing my hair.
"Management thinks you're making some great progress, Sophia. Really, they're super impressed. That's why they want to move up the schedule a little to try and awaken your powers today."
I'm excited about the talk of powers again. Dr. Mack begins painfully tugging at my hair, braiding it. I raise my hand and shake my open palm, trying to show it hurts, but she doesn't let up tugging. I really have taken for granted my voice and the ability to make yourself heard. It's crazy how easy it is to ignore me now. Or maybe that's just Dr. Mack being so lost in her braiding work she isn't really paying attention to me. Dr. Mack ends up tying 2 small braids in the front, and then 2 larger ones in the back. She left my hair brushed and loose around the braids. I thought it looked pretty, kind of like a fantasy look maybe,
She clapped her hands together. Now how about we do some makeup? What do you think of that?
I shook my head. I was done with having to sit around being her doll for now. She did not acknowledge the answer and ended up doing a light eyeshadow, as well as a light pink lipstick just along my lips. She tried to do some foundation blending over my freckles, but I admittedly fought harder to make myself understood that I liked them. She seemed to like seeing me have a personal stake in my appearance, so she backed off.
Okay, Sophia, I think we are all ready. Let's have you slip into these flats, and we can head out.
I did as she said and pulled the shoes on, clicking them together with a sense of amusement.
Your first time leaving the nursery. How exciting! Do a good job, and we might be able to move you into a team dorm as soon as the end of tomorrow. So no pressure, but also do your best.
I nodded as excitedly as I could. I made sure to grab my notebook before we headed out, tucking it into a bag Dr. Mack had given me. Dr. Mack opened up the door, and we exited into a hallway outside. It seemed like there were many rooms like the one I had been inside in this nursery. I thought about pulling out my notebook to ask if there were many nurseries around the world, but didn't feel like it mattered enough to go to all the trouble of stopping and pulling it out. We continued down the hall until we reached an elevator. Dr. Mack slid a keycard into a scanner, and the up and down button lit up on the elevator.
Next stop, testing area,
she cheered to me, selecting the down button. The elevator arrived with a beep, and the doors parted for us. We entered inside as Dr. Mack selected the floor we were headed for. It wasn't marked testing. It was marked B2. I guess she had to memorize all the floors and what was on them. There were a ton of buttons. There were up to 30, so that must mean there are 30 floors. But then there were also B's and T's. The elevator moved. A slight vibration shook through the pod with each floor we passed. The elevator came to a stop. The top of the door flashed 17.
Looks like we'll have company, Sophia. Be on your best behavior, okay?
I nodded. I'm excited to see another person besides myself and Dr. Mack. The doors open and two figures are on the other side beginning to step in. Another white coat doctor I imagined is the adult figure, but the slightly shorter figure I imagined is a magical girl. She looked older than me, but not much more than a year or two. What stood out about her was that she was covered in bandages, from her head to every other opening in her clothing. She had very short shorts on, exposing what would be her thighs if it weren't for the bandages. She was wearing a low-hanging t-shirt as well, again, only showing off more bandages. Maybe she'd been really badly injured during a fight with the spawn. I tried to recognize her as she stepped into the elevator. I suddenly wished I had memorized more than just the biggest names in magical girls.
Morning, Davis. Taking Miss Tiki here for some checkups?
Dr. Mack said, greeting our new arrivals.
Yeah, she might be able to finally remove some more bandages. At the very least, we can swap out some for clean ones,
the male doctor said. I stare too much at Tiki, and she takes notice of me.
Hiya, kid.
She looks over to Dr. Mack.
She looks brand spanking new, huh?
Dr. Mack smiled.
We're on our way now for her to undergo testing to see if we can get powers to manifest.
Tiki smiled, or at least her bandages around her mouth bent in a smiling manner.
Good luck, kid. Knock 'em dead.
I squeeze my eyes, nodding, changing into a more bow-like motion. I try my best to say thanks. Tiki lets out a snicker of amusement.
Cat got your tongue, huh?
Apologies, Tiki. Dr. Mack stepped in.
Sophia here can't talk. Mute as they come. If a cat's got anything, it's her vocal cords, since she didn't come with any. Oh, shucks, kid, that sucks,
Tiki responded, patting my shoulder with a bandaged hand.
It's gonna be cool, though. I'm sure it's only up from here.
She gave me a thumbs up, which I responded with one of my own. The elevator dinged, stopping at B1. The male doctor shot Dr. Mack finger guns.
That's us! Good luck, you two!
Tiki exited the elevator behind him, turning back and doing a sign with her hand. The elevator door closed, and we began moving again. I wish I knew what the sign she did meant. Maybe on the side I could be learning sign language, even if management doesn't think I need it.
Tiki's bandages are really crazy, huh? Dr. Mack said. She's a really powerful magical girl. Actually, S-rank, believe it or not. But you just don't see her on TV very often. It's not very fair. Her merch exists, but it's far and few between.
Dr. Mack seemed to be a fan. Believe it or not, she actually was part of Elemental Guardian Vontavia before Guardian Black joined and then became the leader. I closed my hands and then shot them open, trying to mimic a firework to show my surprise and amazement.
Poor girl's powers come with some restrictions, so management felt it was best for her not to be on the front lines and focus more on small battles on low-ranking teams.
I reached for my notebook, finally about to pull it out and ask, Do you have any merch of Tiki before the bandages? But alas, the elevator beeped, letting us know we'd now reached B2.
Here we are! Let's go dazzle the crowd, Sophia! Dr. Mac cheered, marching off out of the elevator. Crowds! No one ever said anything about crowds!
That better be a metaphor or something. I'll hop out of the elevator trying to keep up with her pace. We walked down a hall and past a number of doors. We end up passing by an open room of people in lab coats sitting at computers. I wondered just how many people work at the nursery. I then wonder if the nursery wasn't the whole building, but just part of it, and I was just assuming it was the whole building. We reach a door along another hallway that Dr. Mac stops at, inserting her keycard again and opening the door. It's not much of a room, just a chair, some computer things, and a floor with lots of markings. Dr. Mac motions for me to take a seat in the chair. Once I'm seated, she begins brushing at my hair with her hands, giving me any last touches.
Okay, Sophia, it's time. You look great, and I totally have faith in your performance today.
She pulled me back up to my feet.
Now stand right here on this marking. It's a platform, so don't freak out when it starts moving. Just stay in the center and you'll be okay. It's going to take you to the test room.
She lightly pulls my face to look at hers.
Now I won't be in the room with you, but I'll be watching with the other doctors and scientists in another room, so don't be scared that anyone has abandoned you.
I nod, showing I understand. I move my feet so that I'm standing center in the middle of the platform. I give Dr. Mac a thumbs up, showing her I'm ready.
You're going to do so well, I just know it. Okay, remember, don't be scared and believe in yourself.
Dr. Mac steps out of the room and leaves me on the platform. I wait for something to happen, assuming it might take a moment for everyone to get into position for whatever this test is. I realized Dr. Mac never told me what it was we were being tested on and how. All she told me was that it would help awaken my powers. It's a little scary, honestly. There was a sudden rumble from under me. I almost leapt in fear when it happened before remembering it was a moving platform. I thought it would be rising upward, but instead it was lowering slowly downward. It was a constant slow descent, but before a minute had passed, the floor was at my chest, my shoes standing in another room entirely below the first one. As it lowered more, and I began to be more and more in the room below, I began hearing a strange sound. A growl? Or perhaps growl doesn't cover whatever this was. It was a sore throat-like moan mixed with a hum. What was in the room below me? My neck began to pass through the floor level. I could begin to make out general things about the room below. For one, it seemed much, much taller than the one I had just been in. It was as if I was standing on a tall peak of a hill inside the room, slowly headed towards the ground level. It was bright inside. There were lights, and the walls seemed painted light blue with clouds as if we were outside. That seemed charming as a first impression. The floor passed by my head, and I was now fully in the new room. I didn't leave the center of the platform, but I did lean forward to try and see what was below. It went down a fair amount before you got to the ground. And ground it was. There seemed to be grass down there, I thought as I got inches closer. I kept peering down, looking for the source of the low humming growl. It was another 2 feet lower before I noticed something moving below. It wasn't huge, but it wasn't small. It seemed larger than me for sure. At this distance, I could only really tell it was bigger than me and very much moving. The platform lowered another foot. I leaned forward to try and get a better look, and almost leaned too far, losing my balance. I slammed my foot down, catching myself and correcting my position. The sound of my flat hitting the platform floor was certainly heard by the thing below. It immediately leapt at the base of the platform, crawling at the pillars, trying to climb up to me. It looked up at me, fully noticing me now, and I fully now knew what it was. I couldn't not recognize its distinct look. The news reports were practically always on when they first started appearing. Even now, 4 years later, the large ones make appearances on the news. And that's not even considering the stage concerts Magical Girl host when they reenact their battles. I'd taken a picture with someone dressed as a mascot version at a theme park once. I was a Magical Girl now. Of course I knew this meant facing one eventually. I just didn't think I'd face one before I even started training. I'd never seen one in person. But the pulsating, red glow oozing across veins in its faceless head, the black charcoal animal-like body, there could be no other like it. Clawing and growling at the base of the pillar was the distinct appearance of a spawn. End of Chapter 3.